Game 5 of the World Series took place on Wednesday, October 7th. As the news of the series spread through Pittsburgh, more and more of its residents came to witness the spectacle. 12,322 were on hand at Exposition Park on that day. Among the spectators were the Boston Rooters, who followed their team to Pittsburgh. Just like the previous 4 games, they were as rowdy as possible, rooting for their team and trying to distract the Pirates. One chant of note was a song by W. H. Thompson. Later, the chant was modified to Honus, why do you hit so badly? Though the Pirates were in control of the series, Fred Clark was in a bind. With Deacon Phillip having pitched his 3rd complete game of the series, the shortage of pitchers once again presented a problem. Clark decided to go with a 35-year-old Bill Brickyard Kennedy. Though Kennedy was an ace for the Brooklyn Bridegrooms in the 1890s, the 20th century marked the tail end of his career. 1903 would be his last season, and this would be his last game. Jimmy Collins, on the other hand, had an easier choice. He sent Cy Young to the mound. Young was born 6 months earlier than Kennedy, but he was still a pitching ace. The game started at 2 p.m. Tom Connolly was at home plate. Hank O'Day was at first. Kennedy struggled in the top of the first, giving up a 1-out triple to Jimmy Collins. Chick Stahl grounded out to short, and Collins was thrown out at home. Stahl proceeded to steal second. A walk to Buck Freeman and an infield single by Fred Parent loaded the bases. But Candy LeChance popped out to third, and Kennedy avoided an early disaster. Cy Young was in the top form after a 4-day rest, allowing just 3 base hits through the first 6 innings of play. Kennedy, too, pitched relatively well after the first, allowing just 2 base runners until the 6th. In the 6th, Chick Stahl reached first after Fred Clark failed to catch his fly ball to left. Buck Freeman singled to left. Fred Parent laid down a bunt toward third. Tommy Leach fielded the ball and threw it to Honus Wagner, who was covering third. But Wagner dropped the ball. Bases were loaded. Kennedy proceeded to walk Candy LeChance, forcing in a run by Stahl. Hobie Ferris was up next, hitting a grounder to short, but Honus Wagner bobbled the ball and did not throw it to Claude Ritchie in time for a force out. Freeman and Parent scored. Luke Reiger bunted, moving the runners to third and second. Cy Young came to bat next and helped his own cause by hitting a triple to left, clearing the bases. Patsy Doherty hit another triple to left, knocking in Young. Brickyard Kennedy managed to retire the next 2 batters, but the Americans now had the commanding lead. But Boston was not done scoring. In the 7th, Buck Freeman and Fred Parent hit back-to-back singles. Candy LeChance grounded out to second, putting the runners on the corners. Hobie Ferris singled, knocking in Freeman. Luke Reiger was walked to load the bases. Cy Young grounded out to second, knocking in LeChance. Patsy Doherty hit the ball to the distant left field once again, tripling for the 2nd time in the game. A ground out by Jimmy Collins ended the frame, but Boston now had a 10-run lead. Fred Clark replaced Brickyard Kennedy with Gus Thompson, a fresh rookie with all of 5 Major League games under his belt. Chick Stahl greeted Thompson by tripling to right to start the 8th. Buck Freeman grounded out to second to knock in Stahl. Thompson gave up 1 more single in that frame, but allowed no more runs. Young, on the other hand, continued to dominate the Pirates until the bottom of the 8th. With 2 outs, Ginger Bremont singled. Fred Clark reached first on an error by Fred Parent. Tommy Leach followed up with a triple to right, knocking in both runners. But Honus Wagner ended the rally by grounding out to second. The 2 Pittsburgh runs were a moot point in this contest. Cy Young came into the 9th in full control. Kitty Bransfield flew out to right, Claude Ritchie struck out, Jimmy Sebring singled to right, but Ed Phelps grounded out to second, and the game was over. Cy Young's quality start was just what Boston needed. Though the Pirates were still in control of the series, the momentum was shifting. Rickyard Kennedy's last career start proved to be a disaster, though to his credit, only 4 of the 10 runs he allowed were earned. Gus Thompson, by comparison, got off easy, allowing just 1 run in 2 innings of play. Pittsburgh's defense committed 4 errors in the game, 2 of them by Honus Wagner.